Hey everyone, my name is Paul. Okay, cool. Let's just get into it. First things first, I want to say all those of you who came out to support art instead of Game of Thrones tonight, congratulations to you all. To quote one of my all-time favorites, Joni Mitchell, "But now old friends, they're acting strange. They shake their heads, they say I've changed. Well, something's lost, but something's gained in living every day." That is from both sides now. I first heard those words when I was tripping on mushrooms with my buddy Alex in his mom's gardening shed. It was a magical place. It was filled with dirt-covered tools, bags of soil, small packets of vegetable seeds, and a naked goddess magician pulling rainbows out of a golden compass, singing Enya in a Jamaican accent. I'm pretty sure that last one was the mushrooms talking, but I'm holding out that she's real. But it was in that magical moment I discovered my love of nature and earth. And it was during that moment in my life where I needed answers and I felt unmotivated. I was going to school for international relations, and for any of you with the blank stares out there, I didn't know what the fuck that was either. I just wanted to be friends with everybody. That was my understanding of international relations. Smoking and selling weed was not part of the curriculum, so as you can imagine, I learned pretty quickly that school wasn't for me. I dropped out and I tried to live my best Kerouac life, minus the life experience, minus the education, and minus the knowledge. All I owned at the time was an old BMW R100 motorcycle that my father left me, so at least I had transportation and something that would get a woman to invite me back to her place. And this was not just for a hookup, but because my living situation at the time was mostly the floor, sometimes the couch of my buddy Axel's place, who lived in a studio apartment. And I rode for weeks looking for work. And finally, I had a moment of luck when I was hired as a prep cook at a steakhouse. I said I had worked as a cook before, but the most daring culinary art I attempted was drying mushrooms and rolling joints in my dorm room. But I was the Emeril Lagasse of weed. It was like, bam! Now you're higher than Snoop Dogg flying to Martha's Vineyard for a birthday weekend. I was the Gordon Ramsay of shrooms. "These dried shrooms are stronger than your mum squeezing your fat head betwixt her legs." Now, I should have sold more than I gave away, but I felt bad for screaming at my classmates in a terrible English accent. But I wanted to be friends with everyone, aka international relations. But anyway, the cafe hired me, and I finally had a place to go every day. But the money was still short. I was batting 1,000 in my personal life. Women were inviting me back to their places. But I tried to play it cool by paying the tab every time, so at the end of the month, I was always short. So I jumped on my BMW and went out looking for more work. So I pulled up to a red light, and I looked over and I saw an advertisement for a sperm bank just splashed across one of those benches. And it said, "Help us out by giving yourself a hand." And it had a picture of a hand with eyes and a human nose and a face and a little word bubble above it. And in the word bubble it said, "Let's shake on it." For a brief moment I thought I was tripping, so Joni Mitchell, of course, popped into my head. "Tears and fears and feeling proud to say I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds. I've looked at life that way. Selling my sperm for $60? I never looked at life that way. I learned that I could fund my various weekend liaisons and provide stuff for someone who otherwise was in need. My peacemaker dream actually came true. Cut to a year later, every receptionist knows my middle name. I had a loyalty rewards card. 10th time, you could bring a friend. Who knew? I was a donating machine. On one hand, I was helping parents, future parents, fulfill their dreams of having a child. And in my other hand, well, depending on the day, Yeah, you all get it. So I was on my path. At the same exact time, I had been promoted to sous chef. I even helped my buddy Axel with a down payment on a condo because he was letting me live rent-free in his studio apartment for over a year. Life was gravy, and I was ladling every last drop like Guy Fieri taking a bath in a Waffle House kitchen. But then it happened. I had the 5-MeO-DMT trip from hell. What is 5-MeO-DMT, you might ask? Well, it's the smoked secretion from the Sonoran desert toad. If you ever want to fly to the Andromeda Galaxy on the back of Enya while she's singing Hakuna Matata in a Jamaican accent, this drug is for you. This particular trip, I talked to the frog. I talked to the toad. I conversed with the holy amphibian. We were on the same mountaintop, sitting next to a little stream, and he explained to me that we were both giving our bodies potential to the world and that one day it would come back to haunt us if we didn't understand ourselves first. I was speechless. My first thought was, holy shit, a talking frog. But then my second thought was, why is this frog speaking English? Why not Japanese? And now I say that because he was wearing a kimono and holding a samurai sword. But then I looked down and I was also wearing a kimono and a samurai sword. But anyway, at this time, I realized that the sword was growing out from between my genitals. Now listen, I'm no Freud, but I think it had something to do with my fact that I had penis envy, I don't know, but something to do with donating my sperm. It was a little distressing. So at that moment, Sensei Frog took a handful of sand and threw it up into the sky, and it turned into every star in the universe. Every grain of sand was a world that had existed and had yet to exist. It was ever expanding, and the blue velvet sky was deepening my understanding of the life I had created. I was the great-great-great-great-grandfather seeing my universe blossom, the paths everyone would take, some ending in glory, some ending in tragedy, some reminding me of myself, and others showing me parts of myself I had yet to uncover. Beauty was fully realized in front of my eyes. I saw the event horizon. I saw the expanding universe radiating from every pore of my body. And for a brief moment in time, I was the stars, living their truth. I was Sensei Frog, showing myself the way. And in that moment, he looked at me and he softly croaked in perfect cosmic English. Okay, well, I'm paraphrasing here, but life is the times when you... Okay, I can't remember exactly what he said, but basically my sperm created the universe, something like that. So it was in that moment, he finished talking, and boom, there was a blinding flash, and I was jolted back to reality. I was flying through a glittering tunnel. It was like going up a water slide, but not getting wet. And all of a sudden, boom, it was quiet, and it was calm. My eyes adjusted back to reality, and I was in the gardening shed. Sitting across from me was Axel. He was using a guitar, what I thought was a guitar. It was actually a rake, and he was singing "Every Rose Has Its Thorn." And it was beautiful. I started to cry. I had seen it all. I saw what I had already created. I realized my legacy was complete. And among the dirt-covered tools and the rusty John Deere lawnmower, I realized, well, it was time to put the stallion back in the barn. For the first time in my life, I felt like I had completed something. That gave me the freedom to set my sights moving forward. My restaurant dreams, meeting the woman I wanted to spend the rest of my life with, and having our own children that will be my universe in this reality. In front of me is a clear road. A dirt road lined with trees and wheat fields leading to anywhere. No more garden shed trips with Axel, mostly because it burned down last 4th of July. And sure, that's sad, but Axel's mom got some insurance money and they took a carnival cruise to Jamaica. And they went to a karaoke bar and they saw a woman singing Enya. He sent me the video. I cried for days. The universe loves to work like that. So as for me, I'm happy. I found what I love, and I will do it to the fullest every moment. Life itself is never certain, and we'll never truly understand it. But we all get our moments. Everyone has their rock star moments, and for 12 months, mine was selling sperm. So in the final words of Joni's opus, I've looked at life from both sides now, from win and lose, yet still somehow it's life's illusions I recall, and I really don't know life at all. Thank you.